I just wanted to make a video mainly about my take on the situations of gaming recently. I feel like the budgets for the gaming industry has just gone completely out of whack, and as a result of this, us as consumers and fans miss out. The main thing about this is two things. One, Microsoft's strategy to bring potentially all first-party franchises to PlayStation and possibly Nintendo. I personally don't think for every franchise that should happen. I think Xbox needs exclusives. They need something that resonates with the brand name. When you say PlayStation, you think God of War, Uncharted, Bloodborne, Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn, Until Dawn, you know. And with Xbox you think Forza, Gears of War, Fable, Left 4 Dead, and look, I know Microsoft is a company that focuses on money, that's the whole point of a business, but you don't want to basically kick your loyal on-brand fans in the dick for buying the console, because at that point, yeah, you can play them through Game Pass, but at the same time, people who have bought the console, they're going to be stuffed because they could have got a PlayStation and just either waited until your game went on sale or purchased whatever Xbox game they wanted to buy, pretty much. And that's just crap, and I think that's one of the downsides to Game Pass, to be honest with you, because I think if Game Pass didn't exist, even though I love it, I've got a Series S, I use Game Pass quite a lot, even though I do collect games. They do have a lot of good stuff on there, but I still buy stuff. Not buying the Xbox first party stuff, I don't think I have since Game Pass has been introduced, so I am part of the problem. But ultimately that is why stuff is going across to other platforms, because it's about money. You know, PlayStation makes loads of money because they don't put their games on their service day one like Microsoft does. And it's good for consumers, but it's not good for the business. But, you know, what are they going to do? They can't just take Game Pass off, because then you'd have millions of people who would just boycott it because they've not had to spend an extra penny of first party titles unless they wanted to upgrade. So, you know, the other logical option is to launch on other platforms, and I don't blame them, but they need to keep Halo, Forza and Gears of War on Xbox and PC only. They've always been on Xbox. I know the situation with Gears of War was originally meant to be a PlayStation title, then Microsoft bought it, blah blah, but they've got like direct competitors in a way now. Forza, Sony's combat is Gran Turismo. I know they're two different racing experiences, but that's because Gran Turismo doesn't have an arcadey variant of the franchise like Forza does. They've got Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon. Horizon is the arcadey open world exploration driving game. Motorsport is more the direct competitor to Gran Turismo. So having the game that is combating theirs on their system, yeah, you get money for it, but Forza, Halo and Gears are the only three games that people kind of go, well, I do miss that about Xbox, and that makes me want to go and get an Xbox. So if you take that off and you give it them, Yes, more people get to play it and buy it, which is good for the community and online, but it's not good for the people that have brought the console. And you know, ever since the original Xbox, Halo has been exclusive to Xbox. Ever since the 360, Gears of War has been on an Xbox console. So I just don't think it's a good idea. You will have a lot of upset people, and I would personally be upset as well. I mean, it's like, imagine if, put it this way, imagine if PlayStation were also giving all of their games same time to Xbox. In my experience, I prefer Xbox Live. Game Pass is a better service than PlayStation Plus, in my opinion. So, and my friends primarily are on Xbox. I do have a PS5. So you already know, just from me giving you that list, that if people were to, if they were to give all their exclusives like God of War and Uncharted to Xbox, I wouldn't buy a PlayStation. I only buy a PlayStation for the exclusives. And I've got the PS5. I've bought non-exclusive games since owning it, but since I owned it, I only had 2 games, and that was God of War. I sold it when I got Platinum. And Spider-Man 2, I sold that when I got Platinum in it as well. But since then I have bought third-party physical games, because I've gone into collecting quite a bit now. And I started off with my favourite games, and now I'm getting games that interest me. I got Marvel Midnight Suns Enhanced Edition for £10, brand new, on mine, so I couldn't really pass that on. So the first reason, like I said, was the fact that Xbox is now doing this. And you know what, with Indiana Jones, I'm not even mad. We get to experience the game first, and then, you know, 6 months down the line it releases on PlayStation, and it probably will make its money up. That's fine, because it's not a core pillar franchise. I think if it was a core franchise, it would be different. I mean, there's already some people that aren't happy with it, which is fair enough, because it could have been a competitor to Uncharted, and they could have had multiple games, but what can you do? So yeah, that's about that. My other one, and this has pissed me off, is Dead Space Remake, which I mentioned in the horror game video, is, in my opinion, it's possibly top 3 remakes of all time. Easy. Because you've got the RE1 remake, which is the pillar, like, this is how you do a remake. All the way from 2000 something, so it released on the GameCube first, so it's held its time. And the re-releases have been good. And then you've got the RE2 remake, which was recently. Brilliant game. Phenomenal. And then Dead Space remake. They did everything right in this game. They changed it so Isaac spoke and it was the same voice actor. They changed it to how instead of using the tram to load between levels, you had to walk through the ship, through like maintenance tunnels and cargo paths to enable power to even, like, you basically, instead of travelling with the tram to the area and then going on, you have to walk to that area, enable the power and fix the tram for the tram to come back, and then you are willingly able to go wherever you want. So brilliant. They introduced a new system where, when it came to secondary rooms and doors, you had to sacrifice something. So you either had to sacrifice light, which made the game scarier, or oxygen, so you were on a time limit before you died, or an alarm would go off and it would spawn more enemies, or like hazardous traps would basically spawn, like a generator would explode and then be like an electrical hazard type of thing. So that's another good point that they did. It made doing the optional stuff really good, and they introduced actual side missions. So they introduced the cult from the second and third game. They worked it into the first properly. They expanded the lore with Isaac's girlfriend Nicole, and it basically gives you like a bunch of missions that you can do where you get loot, you get weapons, you get backstory on what happened to the people on the ship, which, you know, more lore's better, and it's just, it makes the world feel more alive, and it connects to the second game better, because the jump from it's just a ship full of people getting massacred to there's a cult in the second game, you're kind of like, wait, how come there's a cult? Because it's not really been here that long. And, you know, it just made sense. The visuals were amazing. It was Frostbite 4, I believe. So, you know, lighting, graphics were just amazing. They introduced the gore system. Not the same gore system as Dead Island 2, but like if you shot one of the necromorphs in the stomach, then body parts would fall out or limbs would properly fall off and stuff like that. They also had it so when you were traversing the game would randomly, purposefully make like necromorphs creep up behind you and do the tiptoe thing where you can't hear them to scare you. They also made backtracking harder as well. So if you did backtrack, the game would recognise how many times you've been back there, and it would spawn enemies according to how far you got in the game. So if you backtracked to the point where you had that one monster that jumps on the corpses and eats her and then turns them into like a super buffed up necromorph with the glowing eyes, then you could go back to do a side mission and there could be two of them in a room full of corpses, and then you're having a bad time and you gotta figure out what to do. But the reason why I'm saying all this anyway, got carried away, is because of the fact that the game apparently didn't meet their sales expectations, even though it sold, I think it was well over 1 million copies at £60, because I got it when it came out. They were working on a Dead Space 2 remake, it was confirmed, and the big bosses at the top were like, yeah, no, just stop doing that, it didn't make us enough money. You went and cancelled a remake to it feels like the original Resident Evil remake all over again. It's like you remade the first, but why not the second? The second is the most, loved in the franchise. Resident Evil 2 OG, peak of the series. Dead Space 2, peak of the series because it retained horror but introduced the kinesis where you could throw stuff. Isaac spoke for the first time. The multiplayer was awesome on it. The zealot suits were awesome as well, and the story was good. It was just a brilliant game. So you cancel a remake to the second one because it didn't sell enough. There's a lot of people that didn't even think the first one needed remaking, right? And a lot of people's thoughts on the first game is it's good, but they prefer Dead Space 2. I guarantee if you remade Dead Space 2 first, or just in general, it would have sold more because it's more loved in the series. There's already tons of mods for the original Dead Space that make it look ridiculous. So I guess on the PC side they probably feel like there's no need to do the upgrade, but I still think what they did with it was insane, and it's such a shame that it got cancelled. And this is why I just hate the state of the way that video games are at the moment. They cost too much to make, and if they don't sell 4 or 5 million units within the first 2 months, and it's considered a flop, and they're scrapping the next project in the series. It's just ridiculous, man. and the situation with, Xbox, like I said as well. Which, by the way, Sony, if Microsoft are giving you some of their exclusives, then you should be puckering up and giving them some of your fucking games. Because it's not fair that you just get to, like, oh yeah, you just, oh yeah, I'll take the collection plate, but instead of fucking putting stuff in it, you just take, in church, you just take it, you don't fucking put any, no. Could possibly do that, no, get it away. Fucking fuck you, Sony, there's no need for that. There's so many games that you could reach a wider audience for. Helldivers 2 when it came out, PC, PlayStation, there was people not only on Xbox but PlayStation that were begging you to allow Xbox people on. It was basically like a third person Halo bug killing game. Who better to have on a fucking bug killing game in space with people in suits than the Spartans? It makes no sense to me. And the fact that you even have people on PlayStation saying, we want them on because, the community's kind of dwindling. We need this resurface of people. And it would have sold good. It didn't have to go on Game Pass. You could have put it on the Xbox, like Xbox are doing now, and people who wanted the game would have bought it. I would have bought it. And the reason why I would have bought it on the Series S is because I'm already paying for Game Pass to play online with like my dad and some mates. I don't want to have to pay PlayStation Plus just to go online, even if it's $7.99 a month. I don't want to do that, and it's an online service game, so there's no solo offline option for that game. So I have not experienced that game, even though I want to. Stellar Blade would be good to go on the Xbox, because there are people, not everyone can afford both at the end of the day. Not everyone's got the money to get a good PC to run the game, and not everyone has got enough to drop $300 to $450 on the Xbox, and then the same for the PlayStation. It's too much money, and in an economy like this, it's not ideal to do shit like that. You don't have to put every exclusive on. You could keep God of War on PlayStation, you could keep Horizon on PlayStation, but Helldivers isn't even a flagship IP, and yet you've stopped the community from growing. And now look at the numbers online. Not only have the people got sick and tired of the game because the hype's died down, but the developers themselves have also patched the fun out. Oh, use this gun, it's really overpowered and awesome. It's a wave survival point objective game, and you're patching weapons that are overpowered and making them weaker so enemies are harder to kill. It just makes it not fun. You don't have to do that. I mean, the only other game I could think of going on Xbox and PlayStation is, I don't know, let's say, well, Final Fantasy for one, because you don't even own the fucking franchise or company. Why is Final Fantasy 7 and Rebirth not on Xbox? And 16, I think 16 has recently been slated for PC, but I don't think it's been slated for Xbox unless I'm wrong. So why are they not on the Xbox console? Because the Xbox is getting missed out a lot, and even by Capcom with the Fighting Collection now, their Xbox aren't getting it. No clear reason. Maybe there's a term going around, Xbox players don't buy games, and obviously it's due to Game Pass and stuff. But the thing is, it's not the consumer's fault that they don't want to buy your game, right? With Game Pass, if anything, it's more fucking competitive. Game Pass offers a wide variety of games that people can play. There's tons of games on that, and even some day one releases from third party developers, right? You need to make your game interesting. The people that want to play your game will buy it, but you should also be giving them the option of where they can buy it and play it. because restricting it to one platform when there's no valid reason as to why it's not on the other, with no explanation, you just basically said, oh yeah, PlayStation and PC only, maybe Switch. So you can put it on the Switch but on the Xbox. It's obviously not developmental issues or workarounds. It's, in my opinion, you probably don't think you'll make enough money off it because of the whole Game Pass thing, or you'll be expected to put it on Game Pass. You won't. There are people that buy stuff on Xbox, you know. Yes, unfortunately, the physical side is dwindled because obviously Game Pass has pushed a lot of digital, and either Series S and Xbox aren't making a external USB drive, even though they should. Wink wink, nudge nudge, Microsoft. Why the fuck have you not done it? If you released an external hard drive USB for, I don't know, £70 to £100, I would buy it. And then I would buy not only Xbox One games, but I would also buy 360 games, which I cannot get, digitally anymore, and can only get physically, and play them through backwards compatibility. But there's no option like that. So again, it's just all big jumbled mess, and I just wanted to pretty much just make this video, rant a little bit, explain why I'm annoyed at the fact that fucking EA are, taking 2 steps forward and then 15 steps back with the fucking trousers down their ankles with a stick up their ass. And then you've got the fact that Microsoft is basically throwing games at Sony now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, no flagship IPs to Sony. And Sony are just getting fucking gluttonous, fat as fuck, and they're just going, we'll take that. I'll sort some out with you later, and you're not going to give them fuck all, are you? Like I said, Helldivers 2, you could grow it. Release it on Xbox. Guaranteed, even a fucking 5 to 10,000 sales, that's 5 to 10,000 more people on the game. And it's not really going to take much. And if I swear to God, if I hear, we're not doing that because the Series S is holding back gaming. The Series S is not holding back gaming. Fucking hell. My only point to this, if the Series S is holding back games, why are games still being made for the PS4 and Xbox One? Why was Jedi Survivor released as a buggy mess, glitch-fueled piece of shit, and the Series S was blamed for that? Oh, this optimization's terrible because they had to work for the S. But now they're making it for the PS4 and Xbox One. So, if they're able to do it for that, why did they release the game in that state and the Series S get blamed for it? And if the Series S is holding back game development, how can the same games run perfectly fine on a lower tiered spec Steam Deck? It doesn't make any sense to say that the Series S is holding shit back, but the same games play fine on a lower spec equivalent hardware, i.e. the Steam Deck, but don't work on the Series S. There's been loads of excuses. Oh, developers don't like making games for it because it's a terrible console. Oh, memory leaks were common recently. Memory leaks, can't get past the debugging thing. Oh, it's not our fault. No, I'll tell you the truth. The games are being made prioritising for the PlayStation. PlayStation's got the bigger market, so they focus on that port first, right? It makes the most sense. They prioritise that port first, bigger audience, and then they basically copy and paste, but use the X12 for the Series X. And then they go, oh, for God's sake, we've made 2 premium ports of the game, but now we've got to do a budget one. Oh, heavens. We've got to work. Oh. No, we'll just delay the Xbox One, just release it on PlayStation PC. You got that running on a GTX 750? Yeah, that's the low spec, to run the game. That's absolutely fine, but we can't do the Series S, no. When you should be Prioritizing the Series S port for it. This makes the most sense. You're going to release it on PlayStation anyway because of the bigger market. You want to release it on Xbox. The best way for you to get console, parity between the X and S, like Microsoft contracts you to, make the game for the Series S first. Make it run good, make it as best as you can, and then use the Series X and the PS5 to add the premium bells and whistles, fucking higher graphics options, 120 FPS mode or 60 FPS mode, I don't fucking know, ray tracing and all that stuff, like we did in the crossplay period when games were constantly being made for the old systems. The Series S, X and PS5, their versions fucking skyrocketed. Resolutions were near constant 4K, bog standard 60 FPS constantly with an 120 FPS mode, even on the Series S, right? But then, now that we're focusing on these, you're doing it backwards. You need to focus on the S first, and then make the premium consoles the better experience, but at least you've developed it primarily for the S. So the S works, you've got no, halting the development. You can release on both consoles at the same time. And stopping this console war bollocks, because it's constantly being used to fight one side. Oh, Series S is all about gaming. Oh, well, we get the game, we get the exclusives, and Series S isn't holding anything back, we've got these games. Oh, well, and then it's just back and forth. Do what Todd Howard and stuff did for Starfield. They said in interviews that whenever they were playtesting the game and developing the game, they did the Series S version first. Todd Howard did all the playtesting and did all of the preview of the game on the Series S, because they wanted to make sure that the Series S version ran as best as it could, and then the Series X version got the extra bells and whistles, which it did. It had a higher resolution, it was still 30 FPS, but now a 60 FPS mode was released for Series X not long after. And both games run amazing on both consoles. Yes, Bethesda glitches and stuff, but when I played Starfield, it was fun. It was a stable 30 with good motion blur. And that's what you need. You need games to develop for the S first, and then you can, blow it up for the other two. But it's not being done like that. It's being made for the PS5, ported over to the X, copy and paste. Oh shit, we need to do the Series S, and there's a memory issue with the RAM, so we're gonna struggle. It's just crap, man. That's why I've primarily been collecting and playing my old games. So yeah, well, you just listen. Well, if anyone did watch, you just listened to me talk shit for about 28 minutes and 15 seconds. So thank you for watching, if you did. I feel good for getting that off the chest, and I hope you all have a great gaming session. But anyway, everyone, enjoy gaming. I'll see you later. Whoosh.